I'm gonna tell you guys a very scary story. The activity that's been happening in here, I think is getting like so intense. Obviously other people are seeing it, so let me explain. Last night, I'm walking around, I'm like cleaning my house, like just getting everything together for the week, right? And I keep seeing something out of the corner of my eye that I know is not like something human. If you kept up with me, you know there is a lot of paranormal stuff happening in my place. And so I'm just trying to ignore it, I'm trying to ignore it, right? I'm in my kitchen, and like my kitchen has like a cutout like space where you can see the living room. So it's all very open, right? It's like a wooden like cutout. And I'm in my kitchen, and my back is turned to the living room, feel like something is standing behind me, and I'm like, ugh, I feel like something is making its way towards me, and I hear like some really strange grunting sounds, and almost like something is being dragged, but it wasn't too loud. That's what the spirit in my house has been doing. It's very vocal, it's very eerie, it makes very weird noises, it's sluggish, it like crawls. Everything terrifying you could ever think of is what's happening to me right now in my house. Like a real life scary movie. So anyways, I just start praying out loud, right? I'm like, God, like calling out to God. I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to deal with it. Then I feel okay. So I'm like, you know what? That was a lot. I'm going to go take my dog on a walk really quick to get my mind off of it. I take my dog out. My neighbor is standing right outside my patio when I take my dog out. And he's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, like, is everything okay? And keep in mind, I'm home alone, by the way. I feel like I need to preface that no one is in my house at the time, so this couldn't have been anyone. And I know it's not real life intruder, right? He said, I just saw something so weird through your blinds. I'm not trying to sound creepy, but I have to tell you what happened if you're open to it. I'm like, oh my God, okay. He's like, I wasn't trying to like look in. I know this guy's not like a weirdo or anything, you know? But he was like, I'm not trying to look in your apartment or anything. Like, my dog was going to the bathroom right outside and your blinds are open. And I did a double take because I saw something that disturbed me. And I was like, okay, well, what'd you see? Like, what happened? He tells me he sees a shadow of a person, but its body is like, what's the word? Distorted and gross looking. And he said it looked like something was like pulling its shoulder up, and then it kept falling down and standing up. And he said, I swear to God, Riley, it's like I could see through it. At first I was freaking out. I was about to start banging on your window because I saw you were in your kitchen, like back turned, and I saw something in your living room. Looks like it was trying hard to get to you, and I thought it was a person at first, and then I realized I could see through it, and what I was seeing was not human. You're probably gonna think I'm crazy. I'm not trying to scare you. And I was like, dude, like, yes, you scared me, but you don't sound crazy. And I was like, I've been dealing with paranormal things in my house recently. And his face just went like white, like a ghost. He was like, I don't know how to describe what I just saw or what just happened, but I'm gonna pray for you because I have never seen anything like that in my life. Like, he was like, it was literally like it was trying so hard to come get you, and then it just disappeared. Like, it was struggling so bad to make movement to come to you. He's like, he couldn't even explain it. Like, I'm trying to think of what he exactly said. He's having so much trouble, like, getting his words out to me of what he just saw. But we're moving in, like, a week, so I'm really hoping whatever is here stays in this damn unit and don't follow me. Because I am so tired of living like this. Ugh. That's all for now. Make sure if you think something's behind you and you might just be tripping, you might not be tripping. And there might be something actually behind you that is not from this world. Bye, guys. So I lived in a haunted house from 6th grade to 7th grade, and I'm going to tell you about it. So my parents got divorced. Well, my mom and my first stepdad got divorced when I was in 6th grade. So we had to move to this house, and it was sketch. It was not good. It was really old. The basement was dirt floors. Okay, set the picture. Dirt floors. And then it had the one level, and then it had upstairs where all the bedrooms were. And my bedroom was this really small, skinny, long room. And on both ends, there was a closet on one end. And on the other end of the room, there was like this door. But the door was about 3 feet tall, and it was just like a open space back there. And so I had a twin bed, so there was only enough room
that I could put my twin bed right next to the opening of that 3-foot door. Like, that's how wide the room was. Twin bed, 3-foot door, wall, long room. And in my room, it was always so cold. Like, when I'm telling you it was like 10 degrees colder than the rest of the house, it was freezing. So on the other side of the room, like if I'm laying in my bed and I'm facing that wall, I had like this picture hanging up kind of by the door, like where my closet would be. And I'm not kidding. Every morning I'd wake up, that picture I had on the far wall of my room would be on the ground next to my bed, all the way across the room. It didn't like fall off the wall onto the ground. It would be next to my bed. Crazy, okay? I slept on the floor of my mom's room almost every day because I was scared, okay? Anyway, so my mom starts dating someone, and I'm watching my brothers, okay? They were young. They shared bunk beds in the room right across the hall from me. And so I'm like, what, 7th grade, okay? So they're gone. It's late. I believe in ghosts. I think it's so scary. So they went to bed. I'm watching TV down in the living room downstairs, and all of a sudden, it's late. They've been asleep for like at least an hour, so it's not like I just went to bed. It's late. I hear laughter upstairs, and I hear like little kids running around upstairs. I'm like, these freaking losers are awake and they're running around. My 2 little brothers, okay? I'm like, of course, they're probably just, woke up and they're just playing with toys. So I go upstairs and I'm like, you guys need to go back to bed. I open their door. They're dead asleep. And like little kids, like if they're like playing around, they're not supposed to go up to them. They're like, like in the bed, dead asleep. I kind of shook my one younger brother on the bottom bunk. I'm like, hey. And he's like, huh, what? I was so scared, bro. I ran back downstairs. I pushed the couch into the corner of the room. I sat in the corner, and I hear running and laughing upstairs again. I'm like, there's no way, bro. And above the top where our bedrooms were, there was like one of those pull-down attics on the top. So you had to pull it down in the hallway, and that's where the attic was. We'd never been up there before. We'd never been up there. So I'm crying. I have the couch in the corner. I call my mom. I'm crying. I'm like, you need to come home. Oh my God. And the thing is I left my brothers up there. I thought there's ghosts up there, and I left them. I'm a horrible sister, okay? But anyway, so she's like, oh my God, it'll be fine. I went, I sat on the steps outside. I was so scared. I called my dad. I was so scared. But anyway, I called my mom again. I was like, no, I'm serious. You need to come home. So she came home. But I was so scared. And I hated my room. I couldn't sleep in my room. I always felt like someone was watching me. It was terrifying, and the picture thing. And then, so we rented that house from someone that we knew, that we lived across the street from before at the other house. And my mom was like, oh my God, like Madison really thinks that this house is hot. So we moved like 2 years, like a year later. We really lived there for like a year. And then when we left, the people we rented from, my mom's friends with, and she's like, oh my God, like Madison, she still believes that house was haunted. And the people we rented from, they used to live there, and their daughter used to play with in the sandbox outside. And she's like, I don't know, like our daughter stayed in the same bedroom, and she would always play in the sandbox, and she would always be like, oh, I'm playing with my friend. And she was never playing with anybody. But she's like, oh, I'm playing with my friend. And my friend, she says she has the same bedroom as me. Oh my God. You mean my bedroom? Yeah, so yeah, I lived in a haunted house for a year, and I'll die on that hill.
I just want to give a disclaimer before I talk about this, that this is not a joke. This is actually something very serious. It's very scary for both my fiance and I. There are some nights that he is perfectly fine, and other nights that he will literally wake up in the middle of the night, like seeing images, whether it's creatures like a spider, a snake. Sometimes he'll see actual human entities, like he'll see a man standing in the corner or whatever. But before I go any further to what happened last night, I just want to do a trigger warning because this is very sensitive, and I don't want TikTok taking this down because I didn't give a trigger warning. So if you at any point feel uncomfortable watching this, please scroll. So the last thing that happened was about a month ago. Our bedroom door was open and our bathroom door was cracked, and it was dark, obviously. And my fiance saw this human-like hand, like the color of my skin, coming out from behind the bathroom door, going like up and down the door like this. Which, I mean, yeah, that was, really scary. I closed the bedroom door after, and nothing has happened since until early this morning, around 1:30 a.m. Mind you, I had taken these, so I passed out in like an hour, right? I was dreaming, and I thought in my dream I heard my fiance say, oh my God, babe, oh my God, wake up, what is that? I woke up, like literally not knowing what the heck was going on, and I look up to see my fiance going like he's staring directly at our TV, and I'm like, are you okay? Are you seeing something again? Do you need a flashlight? So I didn't see anything, obviously. I got my phone, I shined my light, and there was nothing there. So I took my hand and I put it like right by his head, and he literally gripped my hand and just kind of like cradled it, and I did that so that he would know that I was there and that he was okay. So of course this morning comes around, and I asked him if he was okay, and he said that he did not sleep well. And I asked him this time, I always ask him to try to describe like what he saw. And what he saw and how he described it, this was the first time that it gave me like full body chills. He saw at the foot of our bed a tall man, bald, no shirt on, very skinny. His eyes were like glowing white, kind of, and I'm getting chills already. He was literally staring at my fiance, like staring at him, like this, and just smiling. So I wasn't awake for any of this, I guess, but my fiance took a pillow and literally threw it towards the TV. And this is the part that really like made my heart drop in my ass. He said when he threw the pillow, the guy didn't move. He just stood there. And then he raised his arm up like this and pointed at my fiance. I'm getting chills again. And then I turned the flashlight on, and he was gone, and my fiance was just very like heavily breathing, and I'm like, hey, you're okay, go back to sleep. I'm seriously considering, wherever I can get some, saging our room, because I feel like holy water isn't gonna do this justice, especially if he saw something standing right at the foot of our bed. I'm not sure what is going on in my fiance's mind or what he's dreaming about, but it's really been freaking the both of us out. Anyway, if you have any word of advice or anything that I should really consider doing, please let me know in the comments, because I am desperate. I don't really want him to see anyone, but if I can sage, holy water, whatever I can do, salt even, please let me know.
About a year ago, there was this trend going around of this woman asking for scary stories, and everybody would stitch that video telling their scary stories. I tried to stitch this video so many times. Every time I tried to stitch the video and tell my scary story, the sound just would not record. So I would be talking and talking, record the whole video, and when I would get to the end to share the video, my sound wasn't there. You couldn't hear me talking. You could watch me, you could see me, like whatever, but you couldn't hear me. I watch a lot of like spooky TikToks, so those kind of things come up on my For You page all the time. And sometimes when people try to make scary TikToks, even if it had nothing to do with that trend, they would say like, oh, I tried to record this so many times and my sound wouldn't work, like you can't hear me talk, whatever. So I thought it was weird that the only time I heard people complaining about that was when they were telling scary stories, and then all of my other TikToks I ever recorded, it was fine. You could hear me talk, but anytime I try to share this scary story, you couldn't hear me talk. So I told my sister about this because the story I was talking about involved her. It happened to her and I when we were younger. And she was like, Carly, like, shut up. Stop telling that story. Like, clearly something doesn't want you to talk about that. Like, stop. But I'm gonna try again and tell you guys because it's a scary story. So growing up, my sister and I shared a room. We slept in the same bed, and also my family was very religious. We were Catholic. We had Catholic things around the house. And one night, my sister and I were sleeping in bed, and I slept on the inside, like closest to the wall. She slept on the outside. She had woken up, and what she woke up to was a figure that was dressed looking like the Grim Reaper. So basically, like head to toe black, hooded, couldn't like really see a face. She said that it was like floating off the ground, like no feet, and holding that thing that the Grim Reaper holds. Like, she said he was holding an axe. That's what it looked like to her at the time. We were little. Now, she said that she ducked her head under the covers and just started saying Hail Marys or prayers or whatever she was saying. She was praying. And she also pushed me to the other side of the bed, so I'd be on the outside, bitch, and moved herself to the inside. And she said, like, she peeked her eyes out of the covers after she, like, prayed a million times to see if it went away. And she said it did. It was going out of the room towards my parents' room. Now, my mom always believes my sister because my mom believes in stuff like this. She grew up, actually, in a very haunted house. My dad, on the other hand, he was so religious that he was like, those things are not real. He did not believe it. He was always like, would explain things away. If we ever heard a noise, he's like, oh, it's this and that. Like, very technical kind of person. Never believed it, right? So nothing more was really said about this figure until one day I saw this figure. I'm 3 years younger than my sister. I don't remember how old we were, but I don't even think she was a preteen when she saw this. Like, she was still a kid. I was very young. And when I saw this figure, I remember sitting in my living room, and we always rearranged our furniture, but at that time, the couch pointed at the TV. The TV was right next to the hallway opening. So sitting on the couch, if I'm watching TV, I can literally look and see down the hallway. And at the very end of the hallway was my parents' room. Now, my parents' room also had a statue of Mary in it, kind of like a place to like kneel to the statue of Mary. It was, I don't know, you could kneel on it and pray. And I could see that. I'm pretty sure I was like playing Nintendo 64 or something, and I looked down the hallway and I see the same exact figure, the black hood, the axe thing, floating into my parents' room, go behind the statue of Mary, which I have chills like thinking about that. Like, that freaked me the fuck out. I was so young, I literally just like ran to my mom, who was cooking in the kitchen. It was just her and I home, and just like held onto her leg and was just like, oh, I was just scared by myself out there, and like didn't tell her what I saw. I also want to note that in that house, as a kid, I don't know if it was the house or just me being super young, but I heard voices all the time. And I know that makes me sound crazy, but like, I did. And it wasn't ever like people talking to me or anything. Like, I'm saying like not like conversations. However, I would hear voices calling my name or calling my family's name. I specifically remember we were doing like a road trip to Disney, and my dad was like, go in the like what is it, the VCR tapes or whatever, the tapes, like movies, and we had like a TV that we could put in the car and put the tapes in and watch movies for our road trip, right? So he's like, go pick out some movies for the trip that we could watch while we drive. Everybody else was outside. I go in to pick my movie, and I remember looking through the movies. Nobody else was inside, and I just hear like a voice just like this going like, Carly, Carly, like a taunting voice, and it creeps me out. I would hear that a lot when I would like be like sitting by myself or something. Like I said, I wouldn't just hear my name, I would hear other people's names too, like my mom or my dad or my sister. So that was weird. Now, my dad did make an addition on our house. He literally, like, completely redid the entire house. And I don't know if it was us getting older or just that the house was redone. But once the house was redone, never saw that thing again. Never heard voices like that again. Now I've had other experiences other places, but like at least for like that house and that story, never happened again. I don't know if it was literally the Grim Reaper. If it was, that's pretty scary. Or if it was just like something else or like a D word, which I won't say in my home, especially because, never mind, not gonna say that. But yeah, spooky, scary story time.
And ready with me while I talk about some spooky things. And if you know anything about me, I've been absolutely obsessed with this kind of stuff ever since I was like 5 years old. And so I have a lot to tell. But right now we're going to start with something that was in elementary school for me and had to do with all of my friends. Okay, so basically this is not really that scary, but it's quite interesting. And it has to do with me and a lot of my friends from elementary school. And I really hope that some of them are watching this right now, because that would literally make my day. But anyway, so whenever I was in like the 3rd grade, maybe second too, I think it was like 2nd grade and 3rd grade, we had this little group, and it was me and then like 5, 6 people, other people maybe. And we were convinced that our elementary school was like haunted, and that there were these trailers that were outside of the school, and it was like this whole thing that these trailers, somebody had died in them and was haunting the school. And they were like haunting the bathrooms and haunting the gym, and there was like at the school there was like this little cemetery kind of thing. Like they weren't buried there, obviously. It was just like a memorial with their names on it. And we thought that one of the people or the person, whatever, that was haunting the school was like their memorial was there. Anyways, we would sit at recess every single day, and whenever this investigation was going on, this ghost hunt, and we would stare at this trailer that was across from the school, and it was like past the fence, and we would look through the windows of this trailer constantly looking for something in that house. And of course we were little kids and we were making up stuff that like we thought that we saw, and like making up stories about things we seen in the bathroom, and you know, like just dumb stuff. And it definitely wasn't real, but it just felt so real at the time that I had truly convinced myself that there was something in that trailer. And so we were like little FBI agents and going around the playgrounds looking for signs in the trees, like markings and like engravings in the trees, pretending there was something there. And I remember like sitting at recess sometimes, and somebody, like this girl, would pretend like she was getting like scratched by a demon, and like stuff was like touching her and she was possessed and like all this stuff. And it was just so much at the time. Like I really truly felt like I was an investigator, and like I would talk about it all the time. And me and my friends did the same thing. Like this was like our whole life at school at the time. But I won't even lie, this school was creepy at times. I mean, there were situations where I was genuinely scared, and like I felt like something was watching me in that bathroom that I'm talking about. Like it was so dark and creepy in there, and it wouldn't like surprise me if the school was actually haunted. And my little brother goes there now, and like he says it feels creepy too. So anyway, that's my story. Anyway, this isn't scary, it's just a little story time, but I do know some scary stuff and have some real scary stories, so if y'all want to hear them, let me know.
story time. Let's talk about the haunted experience I had yesterday, my first time doing urban exploration. So I drove out of state with a friend who has experience with urban exploration to this quite large campus of an abandoned, what used to be a home for the feeble-minded. So it was people with mental health issues. It could be just people that have seizures were sent there. There ended up being a prison there on campus. It's a 30-building campus in the middle of nowhere. And it has a really, I think it was 1903 it opened. It has a really dark history of violence. So these were just innocent people that maybe had some developmental delays. And eventually there was a medium security prison, but just the feeble-minded institution, they called these people who are innocent and maybe just have some developmental delays, they referred to them as inmates. So they didn't refer to them as patients. And they were extremely overcrowded and had a reputation of violence and over medicating and lots of dark. There's a significant graveyard on site with like 175 unmarked graves, and there wasn't even any recordings of when these people passed. They were just put in the ground, and there's a stone that's blank. So anyway, we listened to a podcast about it on the way, and there's quite a long YouTube video about it that has like some people that are still living, because it wasn't closed until 91. Some actual survivors are interviewed, and it's a really interesting. And one of the rules, I guess, of urban exploration is you're not supposed to post the place, but if you're curious about the place, you can DM me and I'll tell you. So anyway, yesterday it was 90 degrees, and these buildings have all broken glass, and the doors from other urban explorers, the doors are all propped open and things like that. So these are very aired out buildings. They're not sealed shut by any stretch of the imagination. And so the first building we went into, it was maybe cooler than you'd think, but not cold. It was really interesting with all the peeled paint and various graffiti, and it was totally spooky. And my friend who does this, she told me she has a rule that she doesn't do basements. So we didn't do the basement, and that was fine with me. The next building we went into, you could feel, and I have a basement, so it's obviously cooler than the rest of my house, but you can't feel cold air coming up like there's AC on high or something. And this next building we went into, when you had to like crawl in this kind of hole, and then you could either go upstairs or down, and down was to the basement, and you could feel the cold air coming up. It was pretty intense. You could feel the energy. It was heavy, not happy. We didn't spend much time there because we didn't feel very welcome. That was pretty creepy. I think there was some fallen out floors where there's holes in it. We didn't spend an awful lot of time in that building. I believe the next building we went into, that was one of the worst of my experiences as far as the negative energy. It looked like it was a cafeteria. So it was like the double doors, they were wide open. And there was a door open in the back, just a regular sized door. and windows were broken. So this is not a basement. This is the first floor that is completely aired out. It was 90 degrees. You were like 10 feet from the door and you could feel the cold air. It was freezing. It was like AC was on blast. This is a abandoned building with no electricity. And then you could see like particles in your flashlight. And then my friend was like, do you smell smoke? And I said I did. And then you could see smoke. There's nobody there. We definitely didn't feel welcome there, and we left. The next building we went into, there was written outside of the little hole you had to crawl into, please don't vandalize and be respectful of the fact that people suffered here. And that is one thing. Both she and I obviously did not vandalize anything. We didn't take anything. And we were very respectful of the fact that people had suffered there. And I do think it's important to research these things and to be interested in these things, because it's important that these things are talked about, because if we don't talk about them, then things like that can be repeated. So anyway, we went into that one, and it was cold. Some areas more cold than others. There was, 666 spray painted twice on one wall, and that is always creepy to me for whatever reason. And then I was in one hallway and she was in another hallway. We kind of got separated, and I got an icky feeling like we should leave. And so I went and found her. And then when I was with her, I felt better. And it was interesting because they were like bedrooms. And they had said in the podcast, like there was some like cheerful paintings here and there. They were kind of creepy. And these particular rooms had these like little paintings. And so that was interesting. And so we left that one. And I think that was the last building we went into. And then we were walking to another area that they talked about on the podcast, where there's like beds and there's actually names of patients on cubbies. And we hadn't even explored the jail yet. So there was like a lot more. This is like huge campus exploring we wanted to do when we saw this. And this is in the middle of nowhere. This is abandoned in disrepair place, right? This man comes on this electric bike and he's like blasting metal. Fine. Dressed all in black and has like a black mask on with like a smile with fangs. Fine. Like, you're a little weird. That's cool. Like, I'm fine with weird. Maybe you're like kind of quirky and you like urban exploration too. And so I didn't really think anything of it. And we were just like, oh, he's like one of us. And so he passed us the first time and said something about ghost. I thought I heard the word ghost. And I was like, oh, he's looking for a ghost. That's okay. And then he passed us again, and I thought I heard hot. It was hot outside. And then he passed us again and said in like a aggressive voice, get the fuck off this property. And we noticed he was like sort of circling. We felt really uneasy at this point. He's sort of circling these buildings, and my friend was like, he's blocking us from there. Why is he blocking us from there? And we're like, is he hiding something, in there? We didn't go into any basements. We had gone into that building, but we didn't go into the basement. So anyway, we started heading back towards the car because we didn't feel safe. She had a taser and I had a knife. We were like holding him at this point. And we didn't hear him for like 15 minutes, and she's like, do you want to go explore those other buildings? I'm like, yeah, he's gone. So we walked quite a bit ways back, and at this point he turned off his radio and kind of surprised us. And we knew at that point, the way he was circling us, this was not a safe situation. So we very quickly went back to the car and left. And he watched us go. But anyway, then on my drive home, the car in front of me had 666 on the license plate, and then a car passed me at the same time with 666 on the license plate. And that completely freaked me out.
Last night, I'm laying in bed, peacefully watching my show, and it's about 8:30, which I know is early, but I'm a grandma, okay, and I need my beauty sleep. And my phone starts ringing, and it's a random number, so I'm like, I'm not gonna answer this one, like, they can leave a message. I let it ring. No message. It starts ringing again, it's the exact same number. I'm like, I'm still not gonna answer you, like, you're not saved for a reason. They don't leave a message. Curiosity gets the best of me, and I Google the number. Well, it turns out that it is my apartment building, and I'm like, okay, well, the leasing office is closed for the day, like, it's later, I haven't ordered anything, like, something's gotta be wrong, like, why are they calling me? So I call them back, and I'm like, hey, it's Brooke, you just called, what's going on? They're like, yeah, are you home? I say yes. They're like, can you come down here right now? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I get my butt out of bed, like, I'm in my pajamas, like, I put a hoodie on, I put some shoes on really quickly, and my heart is, like, beating out of my chest. I am so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, did I do something wrong? Are they gonna kick me out? Like, I swear I paid my rent. Like, what is going on? Because I know I didn't order anything. Like, why do they need to speak to me right now? So I get down there, and it's my regular door lady, and I'm like, hey, Ashley, like, you called? And internally, I'm freaking out. I have that feeling of when you get, like, called down to the principal's office. And she goes, so you have a secret admirer? I laugh. I look at her and I literally laugh because I was so relieved. I truly thought that something was wrong. So I tell her that, and she's like, no, like, you're good, but you, like, truly have a secret admirer. He has been asking about you for a month now. She goes on to tell me that for about the last month, every time she sees this man, which is probably daily because she works most of the day shifts at the door as the front desk, she says that every time that she sees him, he asks, so how's my future wife doing today? What? And, like, asks if she has seen me or not yet that day. So I ask her, how did you figure out that this was me that he is talking about? She tells me that's a really good question because there are a lot of girls, obviously, that I talk to in this building because I work the front desk, like, I'm talking to everybody, and I agree with her. She says, well, he was in the elevator with you one day, and he got off on the same floor as you. So I stop her, I'm like, oh, like, does he live on the same floor as me? She says, well, no. But he saw what unit number was yours and told me. Excuse me? She says this was a few days ago, though, and she just saw him again. And I was like, so Ashley, how did you figure it out that it was me he was talking about? She says, well, after I saw him just now, I went into my computer and looked up your unit number and found your phone number and called you. She goes, as soon as you answered, I knew exactly who you were, and that's why I asked you to come down here. But I told her I honestly had no clue who she was talking about, and that next time she sees him, she should just tell him to come up and introduce himself to me. So I can't decide if this is, like, going to be the greatest cute meet ever, like, ooh, romantical movie, or if this is creepy. I really don't know which it is at this point. Like, is this cute or is this creepy?
I wanted to share some more stories about growing up in a haunted house. I had just gotten out of the hospital and I was on blood thinners, so I was very careful not to get any cuts or anything like that because while on blood thinners it can cause you to bleed really bad, even just like a little cut. I got in the shower and I think I was in there for like 2-3 minutes and my shin started burning really bad. I looked down at my leg and there's 3 slash marks, and of course I'm bleeding like insanely. It looked like 3 thin cat claw marks, and I don't have any cats. And I was bleeding so much before I got in the shower, I would have seen that and nothing. So I don't know what that one was. I always felt like I was going crazy, hearing knocks, seeing things out of the corner of my eye. Things getting misplaced, like I know that nobody touched it and I did not move it and it's like sitting in the middle of the floor. I was using the bathroom and this postcard envelope thing slid under the door, but I just thought it was my brother screwing around because he was always doing something like that. It didn't come all the way under, so it was halfway, like, through the other side. So I took my foot and I slid it back under. That envelope slides right back into the bathroom. So I go out to find my brother, and he's not there. Nobody's home. Actually, they hadn't been home for like 30 minutes. So that was scary as hell, and I left. I did not stay home. Things really started amping up, and I think it was because I was giving such a reaction, and I was really scared, and it was really hard not to have a reaction and to ignore it, and I wasn't ignoring it, so it was just getting worse. I had a friend over, and we were just hanging out in my room listening to music. I had the speaker on, and I had it on top of the dresser. My dog kept staring at the ceiling, and as soon as she started to growl, that speaker flew off of the dresser. We sat there and tried to figure out maybe the music was so loud that the speaker kind of vibrated off of the dresser, but there was just no way. I mean, it flew across the room. This room isn't very big, but it flew across it, so there was just no way.
I just came up with this really crazy, you know what, I'm not even gonna gaslight myself into thinking that this is a crazy thing, like situation or scenario, because it could very much be fucking real. Like, the stories like this happen all the time, and I'm not going to downplay it and to think like, oh, I'm being paranoid. No, I'm being cautious. I had a maintenance guy come in on Friday. We ended up talking a little bit, and like small talking, and so he knows that I have 2 jobs. He knows that I work one in the morning, one at night, okay? He was like, yeah, I think, and you have a daughter too, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I saw you guys, or whatever. Meaning, I'm pretty sure he knows what kind of car I drive too, right? Because he's like always around, okay? Like, no red flags there, whatever. Well, I'm at work, it's 8:30 at night, and I get a fucking notification. Thank God that my door is jammed, otherwise I would have never known. Meaning somebody had come inside or whatever, closed it again, and when they locked it, I got the notification. In my mind, I'm like, it's either like an app glitch, but I was strongly starting to feel like it was that maintenance guy, because who the fuck else would have access to my house, okay? And he knows that I have work at night. He knows my car, he knows I'm not there. I didn't really think anything of it. I kind of just like let it go, and I was like trying to convince myself that it was the app glitch. I even called the office the next day. I told them what had happened. I even told them security never fucking came, because I called them to come look. They never even came. She was like, well, if your door's jammed, we definitely need to fix that, so let me get someone to come and fix that. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I really didn't care about it, but I was like, fine, whatever. So I'm literally in bed rotting, okay, like just now. And the knock's at the door, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking maintenance here to fix my lock. So, but I was just like, I'm not in the mood. I'm exhausted. I'm not in the mood. So a couple minutes go by, and he's still out there fucking knocking. And I'm like, bro, if I don't answer the first 2 fucking 3 knocks, maybe I'm not gonna answer at all, you know? So I go out there to look at the peephole, okay? And it's the same guy. And I started feeling really sketched out again when I saw him. My car's right out front. He knows I'm home. Okay? He knows I'm home. He knows I'm off today. He knows I'm fucking home. He is not going away. He's out there for at least 7 minutes, which is a really long time to be knocking at someone's fucking door, especially if they're not answering. That's a really long time to be standing out there. He was not moving. He was not leaving. So I was getting really fucking annoyed. I'm like, bro, fucking go away. Like, stop knocking on my door. I'm laying in bed, and I hear the door lock trying to go. And then I get a notification like, your door's jammed. This motherfucker was trying to come inside. Knowing that I'm fucking here, knowing that I don't want to fucking answer the door. He was trying to come inside. And that pissed me off. And so I called the office, and I let them know, hey, I do not want people coming inside while I'm not home. She's like, well, you know, the office made the request, so I'm not sure if they put that or not in the notes, but, you know, we can cancel this work order. And I was like, yes, because the only way I know if somebody's tried to come in my fucking house is when my door jams. And I want to keep it that way. And I told her, I'm sketched out. I also told her, can you see exactly when somebody closes a work order? Because apparently that's the only way they have an access code to get inside here, is with a work order that's open. So if this motherfucker didn't close the work order, because in his mind he knew I was going to be gone, so that way he could come back with that same code. Because once they close it, I think the code is like no longer valid or something. So I told her to look into that. I was like, actually, I need you to tell me exactly when he closed in that work order. She said she'd look into it. So, to be continued, because let me tell you something. I don't play about this fucking shit. I really don't. If I act weird or paranoid, it's for a good fucking reason. And like I said, I'm not going to try to convince myself that I'm being overly anxious about this, because there's no fucking way that that was just a glitch. This motherfucker, most likely, and I really do feel, and I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to think like this, but it's a very good possibility that he fucking came in here and, I don't know, snooped around or something. He could be fucking smelling my panties for all I know. Like, he could have them in his fucking pocket. Like, I don't know. All I know is men are fucking creeps. I don't trust them. I don't give a fuck how nice or normal they seem. I don't fucking trust them. For shit. And
I grew up in a haunted house, and I posted some stories already about my experience living there, but my worst experience living in a haunted house was not the house I grew up with. It was actually mine and my husband's first home that we owned. There was something so dark and sinister about this house, and I knew from the second we moved in that something wasn't right. When we bought our home, it was only 2 years old, so it's not like this house was around for a long time and something happened inside the house. I definitely think something sinister must have happened on the land. We were in the panhandle of Florida, and who knows what could have gone on there. So when we first moved in, every single night for 2 months straight, I had a dream that somebody was either buried under the house or in the yard. And most of the times it was a woman who was buried, but every now and then it was a man. And in the dream it was like a brother or like a best friend, and the woman, I never really had a relationship to her in my dream. But so I'm not really sure why it would switch, but I'm not even kidding you. Every single night, like clockwork, I would have a dream somebody was buried in the yard or under the house. Those dreams were just the start of everything happening. Slowly after that, I would see things all the time. I would see full-on apparitions in this house, and they were terrifying. There were nights where my husband would work overnight, and it was just me home by myself with our 3 dogs. And the way our house was set up is you would walk into the front door, and there would be a long hallway. Off to the left of the hallway were like 2 spare rooms and a bathroom in the middle. But if you continue down the hallway, it kind of opened up into like a big square, like an open concept where the kitchen was here, the kitchen and dining room, and then the living room. And then across from our kitchen was our master bedroom. So there were nights where I would be sitting on the couch, and the back of the couch would be facing that long hallway. And one particular night, I was sitting on the couch and I was watching TV, and I was home by myself with my dogs. They were sleeping on the couch next to me, and I heard like a scratching noise on the wall behind me in the dark hallway. So I turn around and I see a woman in like 1800s dress, like a fancy dress, you know, with like the, I don't know what it's called, like the bubble butt dress that they wore, like a Victorian style dress. And she looked at me, and then she looked towards the little hallway where the spare rooms were, and she continued to walk into that hallway and disappear. And you know, I was not about to go follow her. I freaked out. I ran out the back door because she was closest to the front door, and I called my husband, freaking out. And I caught my breath and relaxed a little bit outside, and slowly went back in and brought the dogs with me, and we scoped it out, made sure there was no one there. But that is one of many stories. I will tell you more in a follow-up video.
All right, so I've been holding in this story for way, way, way too long. I used to work at Gold's Gym. I'm not going to say what location because obviously EOS took over and I don't want them to get any like bad juju there, even though they already do. So when I worked there, I had multiple encounters of spiritual encounters, and I felt it since I first went in for the interview. So when you first walk in, to your left there is a kids club. If you worked with me, you know exactly where I'm talking about. So I sat down and I just felt something just like hardcore staring at me. And like when this happens, you're not supposed to like look in that direction, like if you feel like somebody's staring at you. And I knew that there wasn't actually a person, but I felt something was staring at me. So I ignored it. Low-key, I was kind of like, oh, you know, just like kind of pretending, and then like glancing over, and I was like, oh, fuck. Nothing is there. And so I did the interview. Honestly, I kind of didn't want the job. And I was kind of surprised that I got it because I am an esthetician, and I just didn't want to work there anymore after I had that weird feeling, but I was still kind of like, I do need the extra money because I'm just starting out. So I got the job. And so my first encounter was when I was closing the gym, and my coworker told me like, hey, like you need to let everybody know that we're closed, so go kick everybody out. So I was like, okay. So I'm doing my rounds. I go in the women's restroom and I see this woman there, and she's just like putting on her skincare. She's just, you know, going like this in the mirror, and she looks over at me like that. And I was like, oh shit. And I just smiled at her. I was just like, because I'm nice. I'm a nice girl, you know? So I was like, oh, she in a bad mood, but I'm just going to smile at her. So I knew that she knew what I was going to tell her because I was literally just yelling it outside of the women's restroom. So I knew she knew I was going to try to like kick her out, but I was like, you know what? She's doing her skincare. I'm going to let her do her thing. And I know she knows that she's supposed to get out. So I finished my rounds, which was not long. Like that was my last spot, was going to the women's restroom. So I come out, and my coworker was like, hey, was there anybody else in there? I think the gym is empty. And I was like, oh no, there's like one more lady. And she's like, what? Like, well, like we have to go get her. Like the gym is closed. So then I was like, well, I'm kind of scared. Like, can you come with me? And so she was like, oh yeah, like let's go. So we go, and we like both simultaneously stop right at the entrance of the women's restroom. And I don't know what it was, because like I didn't tell her like anything mean. Like I was just like, hey, like can you please like come with me? And so we both stopped. The hair, oh, I forgot this part. Oh shoot, I'm messing it up. So basically like when I told her that there was one more person like in the restroom, we hear a hair blow dryer go off. And I was like, oh man, like are you kidding me? Like I wasn't expecting her to like be blow drying her whole head of hair. You know, I thought she was just doing her skincare real quick. So that's when we go and we hear the hair blow dryer going. And then we simultaneously stop at the door. I mean, not the door, but like the entrance of the women's restroom. And we still hear it. And she's like, hello, hello, is anybody in there? And I was like, dude, she can't hear you. She has a freaking hair blow dryer like right up to her ear. So she's like, oh, okay, fine. And I'm still like outside because I don't know, I just feel weird. I just feel real weird. And so she goes in. As soon as she goes in and turns the corner to like where basically she can see all the whole women's restroom, it goes silent. I don't even hear her footsteps. I don't hear her talking to anybody. I hear absolutely nothing. So I was just like, I'm gonna call her Rebecca. I was like, Rebecca? And then all of a sudden I just hear screaming. Also, shout out to the girl who experienced this with me, because we follow each other on TikTok because we experienced some spooky shit and some crazy shit together. But yeah, so she starts screaming, she's running, and she just like literally like runs into me. And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? And she's like, bitch, there's nobody in there. And I was like, no fucking way. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, she has to be in there. Like, we just heard the hair blow dryer. She's like, there's nobody in there. And so we're like freaking out, and we had like maintenance people, like in, you know, trying to clean up the thing. And we were like, did you hear a hair blow dryer? And they're like, yeah, is there somebody still in the restroom? Like, we want to hurry up and clean it so we can leave. And we were like, there's nobody in there. And they're like, no, we just heard the hair blow dryer. And we're like, we know. We went in there and there was nobody in there. So yeah, it's just like really spooky. I wouldn't say I'm like a super duper big believer, but when things like that happen, especially like when you experience it with somebody else, that's kind of hard to deny. I do have another story. I'm gonna make another part, and then try to post them together just so you guys don't have to wait so long, because I hate it when people do that. So I'm gonna try not to do that. But yeah, so that's my spooky story, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I can't wait to tell you the other one.
If you're a person that gets scared easily, don't watch this video. Today's story is going to be about me, my experience with having a dragon that was attached to me for years. It was attached to me for 5 years. And I'm going to talk about my experiences of what went down. 5 years is a long story to tell, so I'm just going to go over the most important moments. So the first month when it got attached to me, it would come and cuddle with me every night, like hold me from behind, and it would not show me its face. No matter how much I try to turn around, it would always try to hide its face. And I did not realize it then, but I realized that afterward that it did that because it did not want me to see that it was not human. But I didn't, even within that month, I did not realize that it was not normal. And I just thought it was just dreams. I wasn't superstitious. I didn't realize or kind of know that things like that can happen. I was just a normal person going about my day, going about my life, and I thought it was normal. And every time it came to sleep with me, it would make me very, very sleepy and very, very warm and comfortable that I would just knock out like that. So that's how it did that. One night, after a month, I realized that there's a pattern here, something isn't right. So one night, I made a plan. I made a plan that when it came and slept with me that night, I'm going to find out who the hell it is and what the hell it's doing. So it came and cuddled me like usual, and I tried to stay awake, and I had a conversation with it. I asked, hey, who are you? What are you doing here? How are you doing? How's your day? I asked those questions, and so then it kept talking to me, and it didn't make me go to sleep this time because it was answering my questions. So right in the middle of the conversation, I decided to throw my hand back really quick, like that, and I was touching his face. The texture of it was unbelievable. It felt gummy. I put my hand in his mouth, okay? Don't mind me. I was trying to figure out what it was, but when I touched its face, I did not know what I was touching. But it felt gummy, it felt bumpy. It felt like dry skin, but like as if I was touching a lizard's back, like a bumpy lizard back, like a bearded dragon or something. It was weird. The next event was when it came to me and showed its true form, and that was because I was finally seeking shamans for help to get rid of whatever it was. And it came to me to challenge me because obviously those shamans were challenging him. So it came to me one night, and it came to me looking like my husband, and it looked at me in my face, and it said to me, you want to know who I am? You want to see who I am? I was confused because I was like, why is my husband saying this to me? Like, okay. And I just stared at him. I didn't say nothing. And he rolled off the bed to the floor. So I was sleeping on the other end, so I couldn't see where he was at down there. But as soon as he rolled off, he jumped back onto the bed in his true form. And I was just looking at him like, what the heck am I looking at? What is this thing? It did not look human at all. It did not look like anything I ever saw in real life at all. So I was so confused. It had like a lizard's head with a alligator or crocodile looking tail, and it looked like a lizard man. So I was just looking at it, staring at it like, what? My brain couldn't even process what I was looking at. It was really that scary and really that weird and confusing. This last one I want to mention was the most scariest event, and this happened right before I officially got rid of it. So I had a dream that I was at a farmer's market window shopping, and that farmer's market was right next to a very large river. And I decided to peek over at the river, just kind of observing it, and this random person came up to me and said to me, "Hey, why don't you go in the river?" And I was like, "No, I'm scared of water, no." And he said, "Go in there." He pushed me and nudged me to go in there. And I was like, "No, don't push me." And he came up from behind me after he did that and covered my eyes and started like fighting me. And I was trying to get rid of him and get him off of me. And we're fighting each other. And as we're fighting each other, I heard water trickling. And then everything went completely silent. And I was just kind of confused. Like, why did it go quiet? How come I don't feel him around me anymore? And I still couldn't see. Everything was pitch black. But I could feel like something was waist deep on me. So I used my sense of touch to survive. I was in survival mode. So I moved forward, and whatever I felt that was waist deep went higher to my armpit area. I was like, okay, let me go backward, see what difference it make. And as it went backward, it went downwards, and I decided to back up all the way when I didn't feel it anymore. And as I backed up all the way, I looked up to the sky and I saw the full moon. It was a full moon. And since it was full moon, it was shining light down. And as I was looking up, I was looking downwards towards the side of where it was shining light. It was really rocky. So I was like, okay, what the heck is this? And as I looked around me, that's when I was able to see clearly that I was inside a cave. Everything was rocky, and I was in a cave. And I looked around me, I saw water, and that was why I kept hearing water trickling, because we were fighting water, and that's why I kept feeling something that was waist deep or going lower when I was moving around. And I looked at my foot, and I was standing on an island. And that was when I heard my spirit guides calling my name and telling me to go home. So, me knowing my things that I usually do, I usually snap myself awake by telling myself to wake up, and I will wake up. I did that a few times, and I finally woke up. And then when I went to seek a shaman, they said that the dragon that was attached to me took me home, and that was his front door. I was bright nap. But I am doing much better now, and I'm fine now. And that situation really taught me on how to deal with bad dragons, how to fight their ass, how to get rid of them. And it really allowed me to also help others that have gone through it or they're in that situation currently. And yeah, thank you for listening to my story.
Want to hear a really creepy and unsettling story? Cool. When I was about 5, my mom took me to my first concert, and it was like probably 4.5 hours away from where we lived. And we drove in the minivan, and my mom took some stuff into the concert, just like her driver's license, ID, and some cash. And when we came back out to our minivan, the windows were smashed and everything was stolen out. So like a coat that my mom had, something of mine, I don't even remember, all the cash she had in there, and then credit cards. And I don't remember well, but I would say she probably filed some sort of police report. I don't remember. I just remember like getting home and telling my dad and whatever. I was very young. I don't really remember. But something about my mom is she goes running every morning at very, very early in the morning. She runs. And so it's dark and whatever. And now keep in mind, 4.5 hours away. We live about 4.5 hours away from where this initially happened. Don't really hear much from the police. Don't really hear much about it again. Got the cards canceled, whatever. I don't remember. But she's running. We're back home. It's about 2 months later. She's running, and she's running past where these stairs go down into what would be like a basement entrance of like this big building that's in our town. And she's running past there, and something catches her eye, and she looks down the stairwell, and what caught her eye was her own winter coat that had been stolen. And so she walks down the stairwell, and everything is down there. The cash, the cards, the coat, everything that had been stolen from the van. Now, many weird things about this. One, they gave everything back. That's extremely weird. Didn't spend $1 of the cash. What was the point of taking anything? 2, the other thing that's really weird is her ID was with her the whole time. That was never stolen. So they would have never had a way to figure out our address.
Obviously, you would assume that they also lived about 4.5 hours away, where the concert took place. So how did they come to our town to discard of the stuff that they didn't use anything, that they stole, but they never did anything with, and put it in a random stairwell that she was going to run past, that she ran past every morning? Were they following us? It's kind of what it sounds like to me. It sounds to me that they either did find a way to find her address, and for whatever reason, out of the goodness of their heart, thought, well, we'll just ditch it in her town somewhere and hope that she finds it. But this was like 1999, 2000, 2001, whatever. So there was a lot less ways to find out where people lived at that time. You couldn't really just like Google search them. Maybe you could, I don't know, but I would assume there was a lot less information about people out there at the time. So the fact that they decided to discard of the stuff that they didn't use in her town has never sat right with me. A case that's never sat right with me, and like we just like never heard anything about it again. Weird.
6 years ago, a medium told me if I did not leave my house that something was going to kill me. Summer 2018, I moved with my son to North Carolina where his dad was stationed. He had been living in the house that we were renting, but we didn't have anything, just the couch that we were sleeping on for a little bit because we were gonna order a bed and it was not gonna get there until November. So we decided we were just gonna sleep on the couch. Every other room was completely done and ready to go. 2 weeks later, I started at my new job at Lux Salon in Raleigh. I started the same day as a girl named Veronica. Found out the day before I started that I was pregnant with my daughter. What's relative about that is at night, when you first are pregnant, when you're pregnant the whole time, you have to pee a ton. And my husband at the time and I were sleeping on the couch because we didn't have a bed until November, and it was September at this point. And so the first time I have to go back to the bathroom in the middle of the night, my eyes are adjusted, I sit up, and I start walking towards the bathroom, which is like down the hallway. And I feel a heaviness, and then I feel like I'm walking through a black shadow. I freak out, I flip on the light really fast. Obviously there was nothing there, and I kept that light on. The first instance of something like spooky happening, but at night things would fall off of the walls, and it was terrifying to me. So I'm telling everyone at work, like, you know, I'm the new girl, I'm weird, but I have all this stuff happening to me. So I'm discussing everything, and Veronica's like listening and stuff, and we're becoming, you know, like buds. She's clocking it. I didn't know her mom was a medium, and she didn't disclose that, nor do I think that necessarily she told her mom any of this. One night it got really scary because it was like 8 o'clock at night, we're around the dinner table, and there's banging on the side of our house, and there's no windows on that side. So I text my neighbor, I was like, hey, are you banging on the side of the house? She's like, oh my gosh, no. And then suddenly the banging was upstairs above us and in my son's room. My son had been screaming like twice for whatever reason at night, which is very unusual for him. So that freaked me out too. So my husband runs upstairs, and he can't hear the banging, but I can hear the banging. And I'm like, he's like, there's nothing. I'm like, it's banging still. He runs downstairs, and the banging is on the side of the house again. I don't even remember what we did that night. I blacked out. I don't remember anything. I don't even remember telling my family it was happening, but I told the girls out at work, okay? I was like, listen, this is happening, and this is creepy. I'm pregnant. Finally, we have a bed, okay? So I don't have to do the spooky bathroom trips at night. So we have a bed, we live upstairs. One night when I was pretty pregnant, I shot up in bed because I was being choked. And I'm sorry if I'm talking about this like very nonchalantly. This is my 4th time recording this. The last time I recorded it, like just 5 minutes ago, the audio was gone. So I should actually check and see if the audio is working. Okay, it's working. Wake up, I'm being choked. And it's not like reflux like you get when you're pregnant. It's like I felt like someone was choking on me. I sit up so fast. I'm like, it's hard to breathe, but I catch my breath. And I'm like, and I just think, okay, reflux. Because I'm scared. I don't want to admit that there's something spooky going on. I had a relationship with God, but not really. I wasn't praying to him or anything like that. Like the relationship was just not there. I wish I had a relationship at that point, because I feel like I would be able to just like cast the demons out. So I tell my neighbor, who's like a little bit woo-woo, and her best friend is also woo-woo. They're like witches, and they're like, listen, there is such a heavy presence in this house. Like it's terrifying. I've got my cross, my baby, we've got the windows open, we're saging, I'm saying that Our Father, you know, because I'm Catholic, that's just like what I know. That's all I know. Everything is good and clear until I give birth to my daughter. I was in so much bliss, and I started getting very sick, very sick. I had rashes all over my body. I couldn't bend my fingers. Like, it was very progressive, and I kept getting more and more sick. I went to the emergency room. I went to my OB/GYN. Like, no one can figure out exactly what is going on. So I get on this like antibiotic type of thing, and I start feeling good on Friday. Monday, June 10th, baby, is when my AVM bursts. I didn't know I had my AVM at all. So all I think is I have a massive headache. It was to the point where I could not go to sleep. And I have my whole stroke story on my profile. You can go and listen to it. So I'm gonna really skip ahead. Go to the hospital in June. I'm home by October. I realized because of my stroke, I can't go up and down stairs. At this point, like, I was in a walker for assistance. We need to buy a house. We need to buy a house. We buy a cute little ranch, and I tell all the girls at work, like, oh my gosh, like, I bought a house. And Veronica goes, wait, so you're not in that house anymore? I'm like, no. She goes, okay, my mom wrote you a letter. When I say this letter blew my mind, go to part 2.
So I've experienced a lot of scary things that have happened in my life. It's been going on since I was a little girl. I think it comes from like both my parents' side of the family. It's to a point that if I'm home alone and I hear footsteps, I literally just ignore it. So there was a long period of time in like 6th grade that every time I went to Mexico, I was having this like scary experience. I always felt like there was a presence around me. I always felt like there was somebody watching me, especially at night is when it got like the most active. So during this time I was in Mexico, and for some reason I kept waking up at 3 in the morning. And automatically I was thinking about how 3 a.m. is the devil's hour or whatever. So I don't know if my brain was tricking me into believing that situation or something was actually happening. But I started taking a mental note. Every single night I would wake up, I would look at my phone and it would literally say 3 o'clock. And then I felt like somebody was watching me. And we were in Mexico for so long, I don't even remember how long, but every single night I would wake up. It got to a point that I would be so scared to look at my phone because I already knew it was 3 o'clock, and I already like kind of confirmed that there's somebody watching me, and that's why I'm awake at this exact time. So in this specific night, I decided to sleep in the living room with my little cousins. I was sleeping on a blow-up mattress, and to the left of me was my girl cousin, and then to the right of me was a couch, and my boy cousin was sleeping on top of that. And before this specific night, I decided to tell all of my family about what was going on, about me waking up in the middle of the night, and how I felt some presence, and everybody kept telling me I was crazy. All my tias, my mom, my dad, my brother, they were telling me that I was hallucinating. Nobody believed me except my little cousins, because they're my little cousins and, you know, they're gonna believe what their older cousin says. Since they were much younger than me, I didn't think that they would actually like comprehend what I was talking about. But my boy cousin seemed really intrigued, so he kept asking me questions. So I answered all of his questions because I just thought he was curious. So I don't know if because of what I told him scared him, but now after I told him that, every time I woke up at 3 a.m., which was every single night, he started to wake up at 3 a.m. with me. So it first started off that I would wake up, it was 3 a.m. So then I looked at my phone and I would start scrolling YouTube so that I wouldn't be scared. And then I could hear him waking up, and then he would ask me if I was awake, and we would just kind of talk a little bit. Now, the scary thing about him, which he still does to this day, is he talks in his sleep. I always thought talking in your sleep was fake, but this guy, nah, he talked in his sleep like he was having a full conversation with somebody. So keep that in mind for what I'm about to tell you. So the nights went by, I would wake up at 3 a.m. and he was awake with me, but we would just go back to sleep after that. So now, this specific night the whole reason I'm telling you this is because it scared the hell out of me. I wake up, it's 3 a.m., I get a little scared, so I start scrolling my phone. I don't hear him wake up, so I just think that this night he doesn't wake up. All of a sudden, this man pops up. It's dark in the living room, but because there's street lights outside, it kind of shines through the window, so I can kind of see, but I see him literally sit up. It was like so unexpected, so I was like, oh my god, you scared me. And then he didn't say anything for a quick second, so I literally was about to have a panic attack, but then he was like, Alexia, are you awake? And I'm like, yeah, I'm awake. I was like, you scared me. I thought you were sleeping. And then he asked me what time it was, and I told him it was 3 o'clock. He was like, oh, okay. I just want to tell you I'm a little scared. And I'm like, I know, I'm scared too, but just lay back down. It's okay. Every night I was getting more and more scared, so I started to get angry because I was scared. So I told him, it's fine, like, we're fine. There's nothing happening. Just lay down and go to sleep. And then he was like, okay. So he laid down. I laid down. I was on my phone scrolling YouTube, trying to find like a good YouTube video to fall asleep to. He doesn't say anything, and then he asks me, are you scared? And I'm like, yeah, I'm scared, but everything is fine. He says, okay, so then what's that in the corner? When he said that, my heart stopped. I feel like my whole body went cold. I literally was frozen in fear. I asked, what corner, and what are you talking about? I can see his arm point that way, and I literally just glance with my eyes, and I don't see anything. And now I'm more scared, and now I'm more angry because I'm scared. So I tell him, it's fine, just go to sleep, there's nothing there. He asked me if I promise, and I said, yes, I promise. So then he falls asleep. I could not, for the life of me, fall asleep because of what he said, and now I felt like something was watching me. And I kept looking over there in that corner with only my eyes, and nothing was watching me. But I felt like something behind me was watching me. And I'm still frozen in fear that I can't even use my thumb to scroll the YouTube video because I literally feel like whatever he saw is now behind me, watching me, and I just can't physically turn around and look. I don't know how, but I fell asleep, and then in the morning I wake up and I'm terrified, and I tell him, I was like, oh my god, what were you talking about? He was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you were awake. You woke up at 3 a.m. And I explained what just happened, and he was like, I don't remember that. I'm like, do you not remember every night that you've been waking up at 3 a.m. with me? He was like, yes, but I didn't wake up last night. I'm so terrified. I don't even know what to say to him. I'm like, you woke up last night. Don't you remember you told me you saw something in the corner? He was like, no, I don't remember. He was like, maybe I was sleep talking. Because remember, he sleep talks. So yeah, that is one of the scariest things I've ever experienced. I have a lot of stories. But yeah.
Okay, so story time on the fact that I think I was stalked by a last night. To preface this story time, I am a dog sitter. This lady has 3 dogs, one of which is inside, 2 of which are outside, and a bunch of guinea pigs. Her property is set up to where there are a lot of houses on the property, but the main one is the main house, and then there is a bridge, and then there's a ravine from the bridge, and then on the other side of the bridge is the guinea pig house, because she has a lot of guinea pigs. And this is like a super woodsy area. There's literally just woods. I've walked these woods multiple times before. I have been booked by this lady since like 6 months ago. So I am very comfortable with this area. It is all good. I also grew up in this area, so I know wild animals and things whatnot with that. At this point, we had gotten out of the car, and I had heard this noise, and it almost sounded like a call or something, but I couldn't really tell exactly what it was. So we walk up to the main house, we go inside, we feed the inside dog, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, I'm going to run outside, put the outside dogs up. You don't have to deal with them because they are a little crazy. So I had gone outside, and I would walk over to the dogs. One of them was outside of their kennel, one of them was inside the kennel. The one that was inside of the kennel was staring at the bridge, going crazy, and the outside one was at the bridge, at the end of the bridge, and was going absolutely ballistic. And at this point, I hear the call, and it is like, it almost sounds like a meow at first, and then it ends off in like a screech almost. It'll go like and then screech it. So I was like, this is not any kind of like animal that I've ever heard before, and this is not a cat. This is not a cat. So at this point, I'm trying to get the one that is outside of the kennel inside of the kennel because I'm freaking out. I can hear the sound and it is getting louder and louder and louder. So I am grabbing this dog and I'm literally pushing it into the kennel. I'm like, please get inside. And I'm actively saying, please get inside. I'm so scared right now. I'm really scared. I'm really scared. Please get inside. So I finally get the dog inside, and this sound literally sounds like it is on the other side of the bridge. So I book it inside. I get inside, I tell my friend about all this, and she's like, I had a really bad feeling whenever you went out there that I should have gone with, but in all honesty, I'm terrified, so I didn't go outside. So anyways, the last thing we have to do is go across the bridge, go to the guinea pig house, give them more water. So we head out there. The moment we head out there, we can automatically hear this, the screeching thing that was happening is still happening, and it sounds like it's coming from the other side of the bridge. We walk to the edge of the bridge, and I like stop because I just had like a feeling. I was like, don't go any closer, don't go any closer. And I smell. And if you know anything about like the woods and everything, always smell where you're going, because you, specifically where I live, there are wild hogs and they have a very specific smell to them and they are aggressive. So you always smell so you know if they are around. And so I take a really deep breath, but I don't smell hog. I smell like disgusting, dead, like as if something was dead. The bridge is maybe 5-6 feet long, and it is literally sounding like it is on the other side of the bridge. The only thing that we have is I have a little like flashlight thing, like a little like yellow handheld flashlight thing, and a water jug that I was going to use to fill up the guinea pig's waters. So this is all that we have, and we're scanning the thing, can't see anything, and I'm like, do you smell that, to my friend? And she's like, I don't feel good about this, and she fucking books it back to the house. Obviously, if my friend's booking it, I'm gonna book it too, because now I know that I'm not being crazy. I also feel extremely uneasy. So we book it back to the house, we get inside, and we lock ourselves in the pantry, which was the only room without any windows. Now, the moment we get inside the pantry, the light inside of there is kind of flickering. It's not like a bad flicker, it's just like a little bit noticeable, and you can hear the refrigerator running. I call my husband, because obviously I'm freaking out, and I'm like, please get over here, please get over here, I'm so scared, we need you. He's like, okay, I'm on my way. We hang up the phone, and then we start looking up animal noises, like, of this area. Even though I am very in tune with nature, I know what all these wild animals sound like, so I don't know why I was looking that up, but like I think it was to calm my mind down, because my husband had said, oh, well, it's probably a bobcat, like it's okay, I'll come over there. So we're in there and we're talking about what it could be, and both of us have kind of decided like, but we don't want to say it. At this point, it's been like 10 minutes we've been locked in there. My husband's like 5 minutes away at this point. The inside dog is in like still roaming around the main house, and usually he will bark at me because I give him treats all the time. He was not barking whatsoever. And so we're talking about this, and all of a sudden the overhead light goes completely bright, no more flickering, and the refrigerator stops running. So now it's just silence in the house. I have never felt my stomach drop the way that it did. I was genuinely so fucking scared. It's not even funny. At this point, I'm kind of thinking, what if it's in the house right now? Because it saw us run back to the house. We activated the hunter-prey instinct. Now we're screwed. Which, by the way, the house doesn't have any locks on it, so yeah, we're screwed either way. Finally, my husband gets there. He does like a walk through the property. Where's the sound, you may ask? It's gone. It's literally fucking gone. So he walks us to the guinea pigs and everything, and whenever we get onto the bridge, he's like, hey, I'm gonna fire off a round to try and scare off whatever, like if there is anything inside the woods. And I'm like, okay, do it. If you've ever been close to a pew pew, you will know, like, whenever the round goes off, it is pretty loud. My adrenaline was rushing so bad, I could barely even hear it. And he tells us, like, hey, I don't hear anything. Whenever I was out there, I didn't hear anything. Y'all are okay. We do the thing at the guinea pig house, and he walks us back. This entire time, we can't hear it anymore. But it is still, like, completely dead silent in the woods. And you know that whenever you're in the woods, you will always hear something going on, like something. She has 2 llamas. The llamas were even hiding. If the llamas are hiding, you know that that's bad. So we get back, and we immediately leave the property and everything, and we decide to go and get Taco Bell because obviously we're freaked out. So we end up calling one of my other friends, who we had actually called whenever we were in the pantry, and we were basically crying out for help. And I sent her this voicemail, and we're like, please help us, please help us. But she didn't answer. She was asleep. That's fine. I call them again, and I'm like, hey, this is what just happened. She proceeds to tell me that she heard the same exact noise outside of my house a couple months ago. So last night was the last night that I had to go over there at night, but I had to go back over there in the morning, and the friend who went with me last night, she went with me again. And it was perfectly fine until at the very end, and we thought we heard footsteps or something, and the woods went silent again. By the way, this entire time that I've been going over there alone, the woods have never fallen silent. Like, genuinely, I've never fallen silent. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm mainly made this story time of, like, seeing kind of what I should do, because I've never had something that terrifying happened to me before. I was shaking for hours after. I could not go to sleep last night. I was genuinely so terrified. I love living out in the woods.
Happy Monday, friends. I am here with a horror story. This involves the company Rover, which, if you are familiar with what Rover is, it's a dog watching company, pet watching company. We've always had very, very great experiences with this, and never any crazy story. Well, we went away this weekend, and we had to board our puppy. I prefer to take my dog to somebody and not have them in my home, because I don't want people in my home that I don't know when I'm not home. So we took him to this lady that we found on Rover. We have a girl that we usually take him to who's wonderful, but she was booked this weekend. So we took him to this lady who was in my area, who had 5 stars and really good reviews. Rover does background checks and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I have tons of friends who do Rover, like as sitters, and then also use Rover. And that's where I got the idea from. And before this, we have never had any issues. So we get home last night, and I'm going to get Boomer. And she says, we went on a walk. We ate dinner, and then we went on a walk, and I think he's really exhausted, because he's just really lethargic and sleeping, and he's a little bit shaky. So I think he just has low energy, and me thinking like, okay, makes sense. He's a puppy. If you went on like an hour walk, he's going to be tired. I get him in my car, and he starts shaking profusely. Like can't really control his body, can't control his bladder. He pees. Is very confused, whimpering because he doesn't understand what's going on. So I text her and I'm like, hey, did he like get into anything? Like, I don't want to toss blame, but did he get into anything? Chocolate, cleaning supplies, like really anything that I can think of that might be making him feel this way? And she said, no, definitely not chocolate. I have cleaning supplies in my bathroom, but he doesn't go in that bathroom. Okay, cool. Maybe he has low blood sugar or whatever, because I read that when pets have low blood sugar, they could get like this. I call Casey on my way home, and I'm crying, freaking out because he's just getting worse. So Casey immediately runs downstairs when I get there and takes him to the emergency vet. Within minutes of Casey getting there, he picks the dog up and is holding him like a baby. He's extremely lethargic, does not know what's going on. having a full-blown meltdown. Poor Casey. The dog just pees, like, it doesn't even squat to pee, like just pees all over him, like he can't control it. And it took them like 10 minutes. They took my baby and tested his urine, and he immediately lit up red for THC toxicity. Now, before anyone says anything, I live in Maryland, and marijuana is extremely legal here. So that's not the problem. The problem is, why is my dog popping up positive for THC? Well, the emergency vet doctors told Casey that this is not from being around marijuana, marijuana being possibly blown in his direction. This is from him ingesting marijuana, eating marijuana. Why is there marijuana around my dog that he can eat? That's what I want to know. So I texted the lady and told her, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know. Like, I'm so sorry. We were at my neighbor's, and he could have gotten into something in the garage with all the people in there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like, this lady was freaking out, very apologetic. Like, I still didn't want to blame her, because if I give people benefit of the doubt, if she's being truthful with me, okay, it's not her fault. She's had pets for a very long time. Like I said, they do background checks, all that kind of stuff. Like, maybe she is innocent. So I'm just like, okay, like, she's like, please let me know if I can help in any way at all. Like, whatever, let me know in the morning how he is. Well, I get up this morning and go get his bag of stuff from my car, which had his dog bowl, his food, toys, and a bunch of blankets for him. It reeked of marijuana. When I say reeked, I mean, like, I almost puked when I smelled it. Reeked. So I know that bag of stuff and all of those blankets were not at your neighbor's house in the garage with my dog. So that bag of stuff was in whatever room you were in smoking. And for that stuff to smell that bad, there had to have been a lot of smoke in that room. So she is guilty for what happened, and Rover is really not doing anything about it. We have this massive emergency vet bill now, so I really need this to go viral, so someone could take accountability here, because this is insane. We have a massive vet bill. My dog has been poisoned by this THC, which is not good for dogs, clearly, and my dog almost died. What? So, I will never again be using Rover. I will use this girl on Rover that I know privately. This is insane that people do this to pets. I mean, if it was an accident, I get it, but just admit to it. My dog could have died. They make these apps and these types of things because these people are supposed to be trustworthy and have really good backgrounds and really good reviews and 5 stars and blah, blah, blah. But no. And if anybody needs receipts, I have a stack of paper that comes with receipts, with results, bills, all that kind of stuff. Do not trust people. Be careful who you leave your pets with. Okay? I just got this baby, and he cost a pretty penny. And we love him so dearly. So please be careful. And Rover, do better. You should be refunding me and paying for my bill.
I have gotten so many comments about asking for another horror story. If you are watching this at nighttime, I would save it for later or watch at your own risk. Again, if you don't believe in paranormal activity, just scroll past this video because I'm not gonna argue with anyone in the comments. I don't know if you guys have watched this video yet, but I'll put a screenshot right here of this haunted, I don't know if it's haunted, but this very weird road that I live right by. Something happens every single time I am on that road. Last night I had work and I decided to take that road home, that specific road home. Immediately regretted it because it was almost midnight. I had this weird, eerie feeling that I was about to freak the fuck out because I was already a mile deep into this road. I had no choice, so I had to keep going. And I just felt like there was a presence or someone in the car with me. And I had just had a nightmare about I forgot to lock my doors at night and I got out of work, or it was practice, one of the two. and there was someone in my car. So it was kind of freaking me out, but turned my flashlight on, turned around, there was no one behind me. Kept driving, and I just kept having this gut feeling to look behind me because I was like so freaking scared. And one time that I looked behind me, I saw a head, like a face. It wasn't even a head, it was just like a face staring at me. It was not in the backseat, it was in the trunk between like the head seat and like the wall of the car. I shot my head back and grabbed my flashlight, turned it on, and there was obviously nothing there. But I was also so scared of, like, when I was looking back, I was gonna turn around and there was gonna be, like, someone in front of my car, and then, like, I swerve off the road and... But that was just... I was being dramatic, okay? I was, like, that's how scared I was. Like, I was thinking of the worst things possible that you could ever think of because I was genuinely just so fucking scared. Like, it was so bad. I don't know, something about that night was just freaking me the fuck out. My brother got in the car and he was like, something about tonight is so scary. And I was like, Dylan, what the fuck? And then I told him everything that happened. And I was like, I'm not trying to scare you, blah, 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 blah. And the fact that he said that before I even said anything, it's just freaking me out. I was just scared. Got Taco Bell and nothing happened. We were coming back through my subdivision and all of a sudden something gets thrown at our car. Yeah, thrown at our car. And it was almost like, it was so hard and loud, it felt like something wanted us to stop. And I obviously didn't. I went faster and I turned up our court and I was going so fast. We parked the car, I threw it in park. I was like, okay, Dylan, we're just gonna run 3, 2, 1 and we're gonna run to the house together. We grabbed our food. I was like, 3, 2, 1. We ran in the house and locked it right away. And nothing else happened that night, but then I woke up and I was like talking to my mom and my sister about what happened, and I started telling the story, and my mom's like, Megan, and I was like, oh gosh, what? And she was like, I felt something tap me on the shoulder 3 times the other day and no one was there. And I was like, oh my freaking gosh. And now I'm scaring myself. I'm getting scared. And I was like, wait, were you in the car? And it didn't happen in the car. It happened like at my house while she was sitting at the counter. But that just freaked me out so bad. And then my sister was also telling me that when she went upstairs, because our room was in the basement, she said that when she went upstairs, she had like a gut feeling that someone was watching her, and she just ran to the bathroom and ran back to her room because something was just so off. Like, she did not like the feeling. And now I'm so scared to drive at night. Like, even not on the back roads, like, I always feel like someone is in the car with me. And I don't know if it was because the dream I had or the face I saw, but I don't like the feeling that I get every time I go in the car. Anyways, let me know if you guys want more story times, which you guys probably will, because I have not stopped getting comments on multiple videos, more horror story times. So if you guys want some, comment down below and I'll give you guys some more. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Bye.
You guys want to hear a scary story? It reminds me a lot of Insidious, but it's real. One time when I was babysitting these 2 girls, talked about them in a video before this. We were going to call the older one Luna and the younger one Aura. That's what I called them last time. I was babysitting, and the older one had an imaginary friend that she called Pete. I would always sense weird energy in this house. Disturbing, dark, like not good, friendly Casper the Ghost. And then one time, the oldest Luna at the time was, I want to say she was 3 or 4. And the baby, Aura, was like 6 months old. And I had put Aura down for bed. Put her in her little swaddle, got her all set up. She was snug as a bug, cute, perfect sleeping. And me and Luna were out in the living room because I was like, okay, we can play one game together like before you go to sleep, because Aura obviously went to bed a little bit earlier. I think we pulled out like Candyland, some board game, which obviously she doesn't know how to play the ins and outs and the rules because she's 3. But when we were playing, she had another little character and it was Pete's, right? And every time, I swear to God, I would look away, I'd look back and it would move, and she'd be like, oh, Pete moved it. And I'm like, okay, Luna, like, you obviously moved it, you know? Like, she's 3, and I know she's just like, you know, she doesn't know how to play the game. Now I know it was literally this dark spirit that was moving it, but stay with me. I'm like, okay, Luna, sure. And then out of nowhere, we're playing, and the TV was on in the background, excuse me. And Luna goes, I love this song. And I'm like listening. I'm like, what song, baby? Like, I don't hear any music. And she said, oh, the song that Pete is singing to me. She said, it's a song that my daddy plays on his guitar, because their dad played guitar, I guess. Like, I'd always see the guitar. Sometimes it'd be in the living room, or sometimes it'd be in the parents' room, like when I go in there to grab stuff for the kids. It was just like always propped against a wall. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, remember what we said about Pete? Because I told her I didn't want her talking to Pete because, again, this felt like a dark energy. And it sucked because every time I was there, I felt like he was sitting in between me and her. Like, he was always, the spirit, Pete, was always hovering. It would never go away. So anyways, I'm like, what's wrong? Blah, blah. And she's like, I'm trying to get her to describe to me again. She's 3. She doesn't really know how to describe it. And she says, no, Pete said he'll play for you. And I said, no, that's okay. Like, want anything to do with it? She said, no, he'll play for you. Just hold on. So I ignore it and we start playing this game again. Just moving little pieces across the board. And all of a sudden I hear the strum of a guitar. Just a solo strum, like an off chord. And I just get chills down my back because at this time the guitar was in the parents' room. I only knew that. I hadn't gone in their room that time, but because I heard it and their door was shut. And Luna jumps up. She's like, oh, I told you, Riley. Like, I told you. Pete said he'd show you the song. It's my favorite song. And I'm terrified. Like, I'm trying so hard to act cool. I don't know how this little girl is not so scared. But I'm just like, oh, okay, hold on. Let me just go look real quick. Because my immediate thought was like, maybe somebody's in the house. Like, a real person. Because that sounded way too real. It literally was just a strum of a guitar. So I go into the parents' room, I turn on all lights, the guitar is just sitting against the wall. Nobody's in the house, I do a sweep, and I'm like really disturbed because every sweep I'm doing, I feel like something is just hovering and following me into every room I'm going into. So I finally sit back down with her, I'm like, okay babe, let's watch like 10 more minutes of the show and then like we're gonna go to bed. When I sat on the couch with her, it was the first time I felt like not super heavy, overpowering energy, and I'm like, whew, okay, like. But anyways, I was like, okay, this feels a little less heavy. Sorry, my dog's drinking water in the background. She's so loud. So I'm like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. And I pick up the baby monitor right next to us. You guys know what's coming. You've seen the scary movies because it literally was just like that. Pick up the baby monitor to check on Aura. And I literally gag when I think about this because it was so terrifying. I see a hand, right next to the baby. She's sleeping, she's swaddling, and it's a creepy hand where the nails are like this long and it's just this black shadowy hand just right next to her. And again, this is the first time I said I felt relieved, like I wasn't being followed. It's because it went in the other room. I freak out. I literally sprinted, ran, busted into Aura's room, woke her up because I came in the door so hot. She was crying and just felt that energy in that room was disgusting. I pick her up, I bring her back out to the living room. I'm like trying to explain to the parents when they come home, like they're gonna think I'm insane of why their kids are still awake. And I'm sitting on the couch with the baby and with Luna, and I forgot to turn off the baby monitor. And I literally hear just disembodied voices coming from the baby monitor. Terrifying, out of nowhere, loud. And I literally just shut the baby monitor off. And the baby ended up falling back asleep in my arms. Luna ended up falling back asleep, and she like fell asleep on me, like her little head was on my shoulder. When the parents came home, I was like, sorry, they're just like so sweet and they just want to sleep out here with me. Because I tried again to, like I've explained this in the other video, but I tried to kind of bring it up to them before, how like something I thought was going on in their house paranormal, and they looked at me like I was fucking insane. So I knew I wasn't getting anywhere with that. But that was also one of the terrifying times I experienced babysitting for those kids.
I have an Airbnb horror story that I have to share with you. I booked a month stay in Florida. I've been thinking about moving here. I was gonna come test out the area. I was amazed that a Superhost, really nice looking place, had a full month available. So I booked it, got in the car, drove 10 and a half, 11 hours, pull up to the Airbnb at like 8:30, okay? I get out, I go in, immediately am hit with the smell of smoke. I get a headache straight off the bat, but I'm trying to be positive. Then I look down and I see red on the carpet, and I'm like, what's this? What is this? My dog goes up, he's sniffing it. I'm like, this is not good. There is blood throughout the Airbnb. I'm talking throughout the entire place. There's blood up and down the stairs, in multiple bedrooms, it's in the closet, it's all over the place. At the top of their stairs, there's more. Actual insanity. At that point, I didn't even feel safe to be there. So I get in the car and I leave. I go sit in a parking lot, try to get a hold of my host, Airbnb. I'm talking to my family, like, what do I do? Because my month-long stay is out the window, and also, where do I go tonight? What do I do? I've got my dog in the back of the car, and my host is not responding, but the property manager sees the message, says nothing. Airbnb hangs up on me 4 or 5 times, just is not doing anything, no relocation, nothing. I call some friends and show up there crying. Of course, they let me in and we call the police. The police go, they check it out. They are assuming that a local has rented the place and thrown a party, maybe got injured. The night goes past, I'm safe with my friends. I hear from the host in the morning. He apologizes that he hadn't seen it, then tells me that the previous person who had booked there had left the place in shambles. So they had cleaned, but they had not cleaned up all of the blood. He sends me images of just the place wrecked before I got there. And I was like, listen, I need a full refund. Like, I'm not staying there. I haven't stayed there. I can't, like, this is not happening. And he tries to charge me for the first night. I tell him I already have the police involved. I'm like, we're not doing this, sir. I didn't even stay there. Okay, we're not doing this. After a couple more calls with Airbnb, where they again are absolutely no help, the host does refund everything himself. So at least the host did that much. Airbnb, not so much. Anyway, but before he did all that, he sent me pictures and videos of them shampooing the carpet, basically saying like, hey, we've cleaned all the blood up, now come back. No. What? I'm sorry. What? I have no idea what I'm gonna do. No idea if I'm gonna stay, if I'm gonna go. All I know is that I don't trust Airbnb.
Okay, I'm waiting for my brother to come meet me for lunch, and I was scrolling on TikTok and someone had posted what's the scariest moment in your life, and I think I might have the scariest one. So I have always been terrified of someone breaking into my house. My parents' house got broken into when I was like in the 2nd grade, and I've been scared since, and I don't even live with my parents anymore. And I feel like I'm always prepared for someone to break in, if you know what I mean. But anyways, so I was at my parents' house. I still lived there, and my parents were at the beach, and my sister was out of town, and my brother was at work, so there was nobody in the house. And I remember sleeping, or maybe just laying in my bed. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I heard someone in my kitchen, like opening cabinets and shutting cabinets. And I thought, great, the time is now, like, I'm ready to kill somebody. And I was terrified because usually when my parents left me and they went on vacation, they would leave me a shot. I don't know if I can say it because I'm gonna get taken down. But anyways, they always left me one, and I knew how to shoot one, and I was ready. But they did not leave it out. So I was thinking, what am I supposed to do? And I just thought there was a big man in my kitchen, and he was going to come upstairs and kill me, stab me, slice my throat, torture me. Like, I was so scared. So I called 911, and they're like, so-and-so, or first I checked Live 360 to make sure nobody was at home, and everybody was not at home. Like, there was no one close to me at all. So I thought, okay, someone really is in the house. And they kept opening cabinets in my kitchen. So I call 911, and I say, I'm whispering that someone is in my house, and they said, okay, stay inside. And my bedroom is on the 3rd floor of my parents' house, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And they just said, stay inside, like, stay on the phone with me, what's your address? And our address is Pine Mountain Road. So I was like, 1234 Pine Mountain Road. And she said, what? Pine Cone Road? And I was like, please. Pine Mountain Road. So she was like, okay. So I run into my sister's room, which is like adjacent to my room, and I start moving because she has a walk-in closet, which I did too. I don't know why I didn't hide in mine. And I like moved her clothes back so I could hide behind the clothes. And I was literally sitting there on the phone with no weapon because I didn't have one at the time. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm sitting in my sister's closet. And I was thinking in my head, if I stay up here in my sister's closet, a man is going to come up here and find me and kill me. I have to get out of the house. And last time our house got broken into, it took the cop 3 hours to come to our house because we live like out in the country. And I'm not over exaggerating, 3 hours. So I was like, I'm gonna run outside through the front door. So when you leave me my sister's room, you can go down some stairs and run out of the front door. But our stairs are like kind of zigzag. Anyways, so I take off, even though the 911 lady told me not to go outside. So I take off outside, and I take off on we have a we used to have a long gravel driveway, now it's concrete. But I didn't have shoes on, so I was like running across the gravel. Like, that really made me a redneck girl right there. Anyways, so I ran across the gravel, and I get down like half of my driveway, and I was like, okay, I'm safe now. Like, if someone comes out, then I can just run down the road or whatever. And the 911 lady, she's like, okay, like, the cops are on their way, and she hangs up. Like, I thought you weren't supposed to hang up. I thought you were supposed to stay on the phone with someone until the cops got there or whatever. So I said, are you hanging up on me? And she was like, yes. And I was like, okay. So I hang up, and my brother's girlfriend texts me, and she said, by the way, Cameron dropped me off. I'm inside the house. We had to call 911 back and say, don't come. That is so embarrassing. I went back inside and just cried. And cried. Because I was so scared. But it was my brother's girlfriend. And I thought it was a huge man coming to attack me.
Listen, y'all can be scared of driverless vehicles, but I'm currently coming home from my boyfriend's house in my Barbie pajamas with my purse and girly pop shoes from the day before, clothes from the day before next to me, and no driver to judge me for doing it. And I can make a TikTok about it.
I'm trying to calm down and tell this story, but I'm just really freaked out right now, so forgive me. But so basically what happened is I just got home, and I live in an apartment complex with parking garages underneath the complex. And the first parking garage is public parking, so anybody can get in there. And then in order to get down into the lower levels, you have to have like a key fob. So I pull into where like the public parking is, and there's this guy, and immediately I'm like, I'm just creeped out by him. He's like lurking around cars, like clearly doesn't belong, or like, no, whatever, he doesn't live there. And so I'm just weirded out by him. And so I try and like wait a little bit to go like do my key fob to go down. But at some point, like I can't see him anymore. So I'm like, okay, it's probably fine. So I key myself in, and you have to like drive down this ramp, and at the bottom of the ramp is a gate, and then the gate opens and you can drive in. And the second that I keyed myself in and start driving down and the gates went up, I see him start like running down the ramp. And so I like I try and pull in really quick so it can like close. But as soon as I'm pulling in, somebody in my apartment complex was leaving. So the other gate opened, and he like ran in that gate, and I like pull around, and I was like, hey, you can't come in here. I like rolled my window down. I said, hey, you can't come in here. And he was like, oh, I was just going to ask you something. And I was like, no, you can't come in here. And I rolled my window up, and he like turned down the first parking aisle and like started running. And so I lost him. Like I didn't know where he went. And there's 2 floors of parking. There's the main floor, the first residency floor, and then one more below. And I don't know where he went. So I'm calling the security at my apartment and like the front desk back to back because nobody's answering. And so I go and park, and I'm like terrified. I'm terrified to get out of my car and like go to the elevator. But I like don't really have a choice. So I called my best friend on the phone and was just like, hey, like stay on the phone with me because I'm really scared right now. So I get all my stuff and I walk to the elevator, and I had my pepper spray. And so I'm holding pepper spray, whatever. So I go in the elevator, and you have to use the key fob to make the elevator work. So I do the key fob, and I press my floor, which is above. Like all the residences are above. So the elevator all of a sudden starts moving down because there's one more lower parking level. And so then I was like on the phone with my friend, and I was like, Bree, the elevator's going down to P3. What if the doors open and it's him? And so then, why am I going to cry? Whew. So the elevator starts going down, and the doors open, and it's him. He's standing there, and it's just he and I. And I have my pepper spray, and I was like, hey, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. And he's like, oh, I was just trying to go up. And I was like, no, you can't. And he had like kind of put some stuff to like, so the doors weren't closing. And so I like go up to the front, but I don't want to get too close to him. But I'm like up at the front, like kicking his stuff, like moving his stuff with my foot so that the doors can close. And I'm like trying to key fob, and I'm pressing like door close. And I just keep saying, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. And I'm like pushing his stuff out. So the doors finally close. Well, before the doors close, he goes, okay, fine, I'll wait for the next one. But if the doors open again and I see you, I'm coming in. So the doors close, and I'm like pressing. Finally, God, it goes up, and I get out at the lobby so I can go tell the front desk. And so I go tell them, and security's there, and I was like, hey, the guy, like, whatever, he's on P3. I tell him what happened, so security goes and presses the down, and since he called the elevator, anyway, so security's going down, and I'm watching from the office. I'm like hiding, and security, the elevator doors open, and I just hear security say, like, what are you doing? You can't be in here. And I hear the guy say, oh, I was just trying to go to floor 6. And the security was like, no, whatever. So security like took forever to get him out of the elevator, but eventually he got out and like escorted him outside. And now I'm just like, that is truly the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm terrified. And I just feel like, again, I always see stories of like girls having sketchy encounters and like, oh, be aware of your surroundings. And I always think like that just wouldn't ever happen to me, especially because I live in such like a secure apartment building. But anyway, I guess just be aware of your surroundings because you never know.
Me? No. I love alone time. Yeah, it's I don't feel like everyone hates me if I'm left for too long with my own thoughts.
Genuinely, why is shit always happening to me at Target? So I just went on a quick trip to Target, and I get out of my car and I walk to the door, right? And as soon as I'm like walking into Target, there's a man who I'm assuming he just walked out because he's holding a Target bag. Like, it looks like he just walked out of Target. So I'm starting to walk in. He turns and, like, looks at me and then walks in the Target next to me. And I'm like, but you have a bag. Like, you just walked out of the Target. And this dude, like, reeks of cigarette smoke. Already, I'm getting some weird vibes. Like, I'm like, okay. So we're both walking in. I am like, whatever. I grab a cart and I start going. And he, like, walks in front of me and starts walking, like, really slowly. Like, he's trying to wait for me to, like, catch up to him and go around him. But, like, no, I wait for him to go, and he decides, like, he comes past the dollar section and, like, takes a turn, and I keep going straight, because I'm like, yeah, what fucking ever, dude, and, like, he, like, looks at me while I keep going, and I'm just like, whatever. I do my thing, I'm shopping. I've made my way to the, like, children's section. Like, I go past the, like, women's section, and now I'm looking at the children's section, because low-key, some of those little kid clothes, why are they cute? So I'm like, I'm just looking, I'm just browsing, and I see at the corner of my eye, this man is walking towards me, and he's, like, staring at me, eye contact, and I look at him back, I'm like, and he darts off into the baby section. I'm like, not to make any assumptions, but I'm like, you're not going to the baby section to shop, baby. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing? So I'm starting to get a little bit freaked out, because I'm like, why did he followed me back into Target, and now he, like, went all the way around to meet back up with me, and then looked at me, and then I looked back, and then he, like, walked away slowly, still looking at me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I keep walking. I go to the food section to buy groceries. I'm over near, like, the frozen, like, not the frozen, but, like, during, like, the refrigerated section, like, the fruits or whatever, and there he comes back this way, he's eye contact with me, and I'm just like, he's slowly walking towards me, so I go off into the aisles. Luckily, there's, like, a lot of employees around, and I'm kind of, like, sticking near the employees, because I'm definitely getting freaked out. Like, I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable. Like, he is, like, strategically going around Target to, like, follow me. Like, keeps, like, trying to come to, like, cut me off. So I'm like, whatever, my groceries can wait. I turn back around, and I decide to head to checkout. And I'm, like, looking around really closely. Like, I'm so fucking freaked out at this point, because I'm like, he is following me around. Like, again, I see him, like, looking at me, trying to walk close to me, trying to walk over to me. So I just check out, like, I'm talking to the employees. I'm just like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. How's your Wednesday? And I'm just, like, I'm trying to decide if I should, like, tell them or not, because he hasn't gotten, like, too close to me. But I'm like, okay, if I see him one more time, like, I will tell an employee. But, I leave Target. I get to my car. Luckily, I don't see him again. Like, I was scared he was gonna follow me out to my car, and then I would have, like, fucking cried and thrown up all over the place. But, like, by the time I got to my car, I was so shaken. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want it to sound like I'm exaggerating, but, like, I was really freaked out by the fact that, like, I realized he was following me around. Like, I've never been followed around by a man, like, before, and it was, like, super unsettling. Like, I'm still a little freaked out. Like, he was following me, and, like, staring at me. Like, he had no business following my ass back into Target after he had his little bag in his hand already. Follow me in, and then go through, like, the children's sections to go, like, stare at me. And, like, my ass is not gonna end up in a fucking true crime. Like, every time he looked at me, I would, like, glare at him. It was, like, I was fucking holding my little keychain with my little pepper spray like it was a fucking sword. I'm like, and I mean, he didn't fuck with me. Like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? Am I not allowed to go to Target anymore? Like, genuinely, my last 2 trips to Target have been hell. I'm just gonna stop going to that Target, I think, because it's bad vibes.
Everyone's sharing their second shooter horror stories right now, so I thought I would share a horror story of my first time ever shooting a solo wedding. So let's get into it. I would like to preface this by saying that the gallery that I did end up delivering to the clients, I was 100% confident and happy with, and the clients also loved every photo that they got. So I did not miss anything, but I will not say that it went 100% smoothly, as it was my first wedding ever shooting by myself, and it's not going to go smoothly, but that's why it's always important to be prepared and have backup. To set the scene, I was standing up at the gallery, up at the altar, and the ceremony was about to start, so I was just taking photos of people sitting in chairs and chatting before everything began. And right as I hear the music turn on for the bridesmaids to start walking down the aisle, my camera lens just stops working. Like, will not focus on anything. I just have like a red box around the screen and I cannot get it to focus on anything. And when I say it won't focus, it's not even just like it won't focus on a single thing. Like, the entire screen was blurry. So as it is, adrenaline is pumping because, again, first wedding and I'm solo shooting. So this happens and I'm like, what do I do? Like, what am I gonna do? I have to get this, and they're about to walk down the aisle. Like, literally music started and they're about to like walk through the doors. And so I'm like, I have a second, so I have 2 camera bodies. One camera body, I'm like, I don't necessarily want to use that. My flash is on the one main camera body with the lens that's currently not working. So I have to quickly switch both lenses, the one off of my backup camera body onto the main camera body, and switch the one that's on my main camera body onto the backup camera body. So I'm like juggling, switching these over as I'm standing up at the altar, and like people are looking at me and I'm like, I cannot make it seem like I'm in stress right now. Like, I don't want to make it known that like this is happening. So I'm like trying to like subtly do this and like quickly do it in a way that like nobody knows what's going on. And right as I click it onto my main camera body, they're like, the first bridesmaid is like halfway down the aisle. So I'm okay, start shooting. And everything goes perfectly fine from there. This is all to say, like, if you are solo shooting, again, that's even more important for you to have a backup because you don't have a second person as a backup. While even if you have a second shooter, like, it's important to have a backup because you never know what's going to happen. But if I didn't have a backup camera or lens, like, I would have been out of luck and not gotten any photos from the ceremony at all. And that's crazy to think about. Like, I also would like to say that I had been using this camera lens all morning, like for hours prior to the ceremony. It decided to crash out right as the music started for them to walk down. So you never know when it's going to happen either, because obviously I had not planned for that. Everything went perfectly fine. It all worked out in the end, but that was very stressful, and thank God I had that second camera body because I was able to switch that so quickly and didn't miss anything. Again, as the first time shooting a solo wedding, that could have been way worse than it was, and I'm glad everything worked out, and they were very happy with the gallery that they received. But yeah, thanks for listening.